Right.
Recording in progress.
Haha, we're recording now. I will send out the recording to everybody as well, but obviously it's a little bit truncated. The appropriate shoes are what is important, athletic or hiking shoes. For safety reasons, we don't want folks to bring sandals or Crocs or half shoes, toe shoes, or water shoes. If we are going to do a water activity, we will tell you specifically to bring extra water shoes like Crocs or water sandals, but we want to make sure that everybody's toesies are protected and sticks and rocks and stub toes could really ruin a youth's experience at Cub Camp. So we want to make sure that everyone's wearing the right shoes. Also, like platform shoes are not good at Cub Camp. So if you're an adult who's coming along, if you're volunteering and helping out, or if you're just going to be there visiting for the day, please make sure that you wear appropriate shoes to set a good example for the youth as well. The first day items, things that we will be checking in specifically on the first day. Your health form. Please, please bring your health form with A and B section filled out. If you are also staying as an adult, you also have to turn in your health form with section A and B filled out. If you have to fill this out the morning of, it will take a lot more time for everyone to deal with, and we don't want to have to worry about that at camp. So please turn those in. It'll go a lot smoother on the first day. We have to do things like pass out the t-shirt and other stuff. And the quicker we get the required paperwork, the better. Please let the ranger know that you are dropping off your Cub Scout at camp and you shouldn't have to pay for parking. You should just be able to drive in and do drop off. If you are leaving your car in the park, you will have to pay for day use parking, but we will make a note about that in a little bit. You want to drive into the parking area for your specific camp. So if it's a history park, we will talk about the specifics on the history park area to drive into, which is the K2 parking lot. But specifically for Fazona, there is a little bit of a challenge because of where we are. You want to specifically put into your GPS the Pepper Tree picnic area, the Pepper Tree group area into your GPS. If you just put in Vasona Park, it will take you to the front of the park. And that's a good 10-minute walk to our Cub Camp. And if you parked in the front parking lot, it would take you a little while to get there. So please make sure that you go to the Pepper Tree picnic area or the Pepper Tree group area. You do not want to just go to the Vasona Park, and you don't want to just go to the Oak Meadow Park. The camp is not located at Oak Meadow Park. This is a park that is commonly confused for Vasona. The Oak Meadow Park is a Los Gatos City park. Vasona is a Santa Clara County park. They are right next to each other. They don't have a fence between them. The Oak Meadow Park has a plain that is filled with concrete, and you can't really drive anywhere except for into a parking lot and then get out. You need to drive into the county park and then drive along the main road all the way to the Pepper Tree Group area. We will have signs directing you to the group area as well, but I just want to make sure that people know that once again, where we are going is the Pepper Tree Group area. There's another picnic area right next to it that we've rented as well. So as long as you get into those picnic areas, you should be fine. After the first day, I imagine that everyone's going to know where they're going. A fun note is that if you do have to park your car and then you get the parking pass, it is a single parking pass for all of the county parks. So you'll be able to go to any other county park that you would like with that day pass. And if you have an annual county park pass, of course, you do not need to buy a day ticket to park at any of the camp locations. You'll want to bring your scout to the den location specifically and sign them in at the den binder. So there will be sign-in sheets at the den binder, and that's where we're going to want you to sign folks in. That is where drop-off is. Drop-off is at the den binder at the den location. You cannot just drop your child off at the parking lot. You cannot drop your child off on the side of the street. You cannot drop your child off at the wrong park. We want to make sure that all the kids get into camp safely. I will tell people in the Q&A one of the craziest things that I've ever seen for a camp that is right next to our camp that revolves around drop-off that I'm sure none of our parents would ever dream of doing. Typical day camp. This is the typical schedule for all of the different camps, which is that staff check-in and setup. is at 7:30 to 8. That means that we can have early check-in as early as 7:30. There is going to be not a lot of program provided for youth who are dropped off at 7:30, but there will be a specific individual, namely most likely Colby, who is going to be our program director. He can't be on the call tonight because he's handling another meeting, but Colby will be there handling early check-in along with the rest of the staff. And that's when we will be doing our camp setup. And then there's a lull of about a half an hour when we do actual sign-in. So Cub Scout sign-in is at 8:30 to 9 a.m. And then we do opening flags at 9 a.m. and we do any bulletins or announcements. We move into the program activities for the morning. There are two different sessions, and they will have different activities going on so that the youth will all rotate through these different activities across two different sessions in the morning. Each session is an hour and 15 minutes that has the passing time built into it. And that means that the youth will have about an hour at each station. Then we'll go into, I didn't fix this slide again. Dylan. They will go into lunch and den time at about 11:45 a.m. And this is a time where not only do they get to eat lunch, they're going to have some free time. Normally, the youth will coalesce around playing some games like soccer or frisbee or water toss with one another during this time. This is when they will make their den flags. This is also when they will come up with their songs and their skits for the campfire program on Friday. And then 1:15 to 3:45 p.m. is program activities. And on the last day, this is the period of time where we will also have the closing campfire. The closing campfire is the best time if you are a parent to drop into camp. We'll make sure that you know what time that's going to be, especially on Thursday afternoon. We will remind people about the closing campfire. This is when the Cub Scouts in the different dens will be doing songs and skits and putting on a program for everyone, along with the staff, and a chance to pass out the awards and thank everyone for coming out to camp. And then at 4:30 to 5 is when we make sure that, or at 4 to 4:30, I'm sorry, is when we do Cub Scout sign out. And then from 4:30 to 5 p.m. Is when we do camp cleanup and staff meeting. At Stevens Creek Park, most of the youth have been being picked up between 3:45 and 4. So if you do need to do early pickup before closing, that's fine. You just once again need to make sure that they get signed out in the den binder. So moving on. This is the Vasona specific schedule. And so you can see the different things here. The activities are what I want to draw everyone's attention to for Vasona. These are the four different areas. And the area that will rotate will be the sports area and the craft area. Every single day, the youth will get a chance to do some form of fishing. The first couple of days, they're going to be doing casting practice with fake fish. And so they're going to get a chance to learn how to cast and learn how to fish. There's going to be some games associated with that are easier to implement when you're not using real hooks. And then we're going to slowly transition the youth into using real hooks and actually fishing in the lake that we are next to. This is an area and a thing that we can't do at any of the other camps. None of the other camps have a lake or have a fishing opportunity, in the same way that Stevens Creek is where we are running a lot of shooting this week because we have a rod and gun club and they're volunteers who are helping us out. At Vasona, we will also have a STEM station every day. The first day we will start with slime time, and it's going to be hopefully a lot of fun. The kids have certainly enjoyed it so far. And then we'll move into things like an egg drop craft, also fizzy paint. We did ice cream today, bag ice cream, and then we'll probably also do a solar oven and some other fun science, technology, engineering, and mathematics-oriented activities for the youth. We'll also have a sports station. We have a big grassy field, grassy area that we're going to get to use where we can play various different sports. On the first day, we like to start with something that's a little bit easier for all the youth, a little bit more casual. Ultimate Frisbee fits that bucket. We'll also have some disc golf stuff that we'll be doing throughout the week, soccer, and also potentially Gaga Ball, and then some other games that we'll mix in with the sports as well. And then crafts. So we're going to start off with the hiking stick of invention, as I like to call it. It's because the second day is when we move into a nature hike and other activities that would use the craft that we made. This is a map specifically of Vasona. So I didn't have a chance to edit this from last year, mainly because it's a really nice map and I didn't want to mess it up. And so this is a good area. We aren't doing some of the activities on here. Like we don't have a specific kitchen chemistry area, but we are doing solar ovens. We're doing bag ice cream, and we will be doing them in the Lakeview group area. So it does apply. We'll be doing STEM kind of over by the lake as well. And then, of course, we will be doing fishing at the shoreline of the lake. There are some bike paths where cycling will be happening throughout the park. And then also there will be pedestrians that can move throughout that trail in between the two group areas. And of course, it's a public parking area. So we want to make sure when we talk about some of the things a little bit later that you know that we are in a public county park, which means pedestrians and cyclists can come through the map of this area. If you notice that there is the University Avenue, there is a gate that unfortunately is normally locked leading into these parking areas. If I am fortunate enough to beg the ranger staff to open that up, that gate may be open up, but it is most likely going to be closed. I've never seen it open personally, so once again, we're going to have to come in through the main entrance for Vasona, which is off of which is off the main road in front of the park. It's not off of University Avenue. This is the emergency information. So I have my personal cell phone up here. Please do not call that late at night. I will unfortunately answer it like a machine. It is a fault of mine that I will immediately pick up my phone. Blossom Hill, yes, correct. Blossom Hill is the road that Vasona is more directly off of. I believe that might be in a later slide. Also, Colby Broadus is going to be our program director. He has joined us from New York, and that is his cell phone number. That's why he's got a fun prefix that you might not be aware of. And then these are all the other various emergency numbers. The main thing to be aware of is that we are very, very close to a hospital that has full service emergency care, and then we also have an urgent care that is located relatively close. I wouldn't imagine that we would ever really have to use the urgent care, that we would take people to Good Sam pretty much no matter what, because it's much closer than the urgent care anyways. But if we need to do any of the emergencies, we would call many of these main numbers. And then, of course, there are ranger staff at Vasona on site every day. It is a very popular, heavily used county park. And we are lucky to have a good relationship with the county. Camp policies and procedures. This is the gigantic slide. Oh my gosh, so many things to talk about, and all of the really important things. But there's a theme here that you will notice, which will repeat. And number one, except in cases of emergency, cell phones are to be kept in backpacks/bags or left with the den leader. This is applying to the youth and, of course, the people who are volunteering the day of. If you're a den leader and you're looking at your phone, you're probably not watching the kids. And we need folks to be watching the kids. And if the kids have cell phones, which is far more common these days than it ever used to be, if they're looking at their cell phones, they're probably not engaged in whatever activity is being conducted. We have very few activities that would be book-oriented or phone-oriented. They're mainly active and engaging, sport-oriented, and we would want folks to not have their phones in front of them. We are fulfilling the promise of scouting, which is outdoor activity, and that's one of the things that Cub Camp is all about. All participants and visitors must sign in at headquarters. So anybody who is coming to camp has to sign in. This includes guests. So we may have a guest speaker or a relative or a sibling may come into camp. If they come into the camp area, they need to sign in. Of course, if they're just part of drop-off, we don't need a sibling to necessarily sign in. But we do need to know if they are in camp, wandering around, looking at stations, that sort of thing. We want to make sure that we can keep track of everybody. The buddy system will always be in effect at camp. Buddies will be chosen on the first day. Obviously, people who select their own buddies tend to stick with that buddy more, tend to be more engaged with that buddy. Someone's buddy is always going to be the first person we talk to and engage with, because they may know what happened and they're going to have more information about an emergency or about a blow up or about just a fun or exciting thing that folks may see, that the information may not being transferred by the other person in the buddy pair, and that they are a good person to engage with. Throwing objects is prohibited at camp except when engaged in a game or sport or a planned activity. Sadly, no tree climbing. There is a difference between playing on trees that are large trees that the kids may be able to get on and move around on versus climbing a tree. Climbing a tree is above an adult's shoulder, and at that point, we would need to get climbing harnesses and climbing helmets and get them all roped in and everything like that. And we don't have the equipment, so we're not going to have tree climbing. But that doesn't mean that people can't get around on the trees and have fun. No swearing, obscene or abusive language. Thankfully, so far we've had none of that at Stevens Creek. But you know, we're there to be scouts and be good Cub Scouts, and we want to make sure that we follow the rules to build everybody up and not tear anybody down. Knives or matches are not allowed. I'm going to kind of stop there. In general, they're just not allowed. We don't really use them at Cub Day Camp unless we have a very specific activity that we are going to use, which means we will be providing those things. Cub Scouts do not need to bring knives or matches on their own to Cub Day Camp, and parents don't necessarily need to either. If a parent really wants to be bringing a knife or something like that, of course, they're welcome to within the bounds of being a good scout leader, but we won't be really using knives for anything. And if we do have to use them, most of the time it'd be a plastic knife or something like that. Always stay in designated areas unless directed otherwise by their leader, activity host, or the health officer. So we will, for general sake, the parking lot will be lava. So we don't want the kids going around in the parking lot during the middle of the day. Of course, they're going to get picked up and dropped off at the parking lot. But for the most part, we will have them walk around the parking lot instead of through or across the parking lot to get from one activity to the next. And that's a good example of areas that we want them to stay in from a supervision standpoint, but also from a safety standpoint. Attendance will be taken every day for both campers and for the staff. We need to know who is in camp, where they're supposed to be in camp, i.e., what station is the den supposed to be at. Are they checked into the den? Do they have a buddy? We want to make sure that everyone is where they're supposed to be. And if someone doesn't show up for the day, in general, you'll probably get a phone call to say, hey, is your Cub Scout going to be showing up for the day? We'd love to know, just because we don't want to send the den off to an activity to get started without them if you're right around the corner. Smoking or drinking of any controlled substance is prohibited in all program areas at Cub Scout Day Camp. If a person's physician has prescribed such for medical purposes, it must be done under the supervision of the health officer while at camp and be noted on the health form A and B forms left with the health officer. Alcohol and illegal drugs of any type are of course prohibited. We are in a county park. They do have policies relating to this as well, and we want to make sure that we are good participants of the county park and that we follow their rules, but also that we follow scouting's rules for the safety of the youth. And this is a pretty simple rule to follow, and hopefully I don't have to worry about this with any of the Cub Scouts, because that would be terrifying. Personal firearms, ammunition, and archery equipment are not permitted to be brought into camp. This is a scouting rule that applies to all scouting things, and we just want to make sure that we reinforce it. Please, if you do happen to have your own personal bow and arrow, we're not doing archery at Fasona, but even if you're coming to History Park, do not bring those personal items to camp. We will provide all the equipment. We've been able to check the equipment. We know what sort of condition it is in, and we know that it works with our ranges and the other things that we're providing. So we just want to make sure that everybody is as safe as possible. The t-shirt and the patch. I'm wearing the t-shirt. It's right here. It's kind of fading in and out. It's much more blue, obviously, than the picture does justice. The picture makes it look very, very gray. And then the patch is very similar. It's a pretty fun patch. It's obviously clip art of Albert Einstein, but as a ginger, which is pretty fun. A volunteer down in Monterey designed the logo and the patch and the shirt, and we think they did a great job. And so this is what we ended up going with, and it's a lot of fun. The theme for this year's camp is Invention Convention. And that's why we stuck with a lot of the STEM activities that are super fun. And it's also why we're doing a lot of the requirements and things that we focused on from a rank advancement standpoint lean towards the invention convention. There will be at the very end of all of the camp an advancement sheet that gets emailed out to the parents to say, hey, these are the things that your Cubs completed over the course of their Cub Day Camp experience. And we hope that they get inputted into their scout book. So I cannot input things into the scout book for them. You need to take that advancement sheet and give it to your leaders. And you can, depending on how your pack works, you either turn that sheet into your leaders and they go and get the awards, or you go into the scout shop and present that sheet and you can purchase the awards yourself. And Q&A. So everybody start thinking of questions and answers. You can certainly unblack out your video if you would like to ask it on the call. You can unmute yourself if you'd like to talk, and I will go and answer the questions that are in the chat first. So activities around shooting. What is it? How long? How many days? And what sort of safety measures? So there is a shooting sports form that is the permission form. That's the BB authorization form. It really applies to BB, but also in our council, we collect it for archery, even though that's not a legal standard that you have to keep to. At Vasona, there is no shooting. So Vasona is the camp that does not have any shooting sports. We will, one of the days, have what I like to call carnival game style things that people think are shooting. So Nerf bows, Nerf bows are actually air rockets, the way that they're propelled. And so we will be using those kind of as a carnival game style activity. So the kids have something in case they're really the kids that need to do some sort of archery or some sort of shooting. We might have catapults one of the days at Vasona. We may have a giant slingshot at Vasona. We generally speaking follow, not generally, we do follow the Cub Scout range rules, and there is a Cub Scout range and target sports activities manual that you can find on the national website. That goes over not only how we've trained the range masters, which all of the range masters that we have on staff are of course trained, but also how we set up the range. We have a shooting sports trailer that has all of the materials in it that we would need to set up a temporary range. And we do commonly. The most common place that you may have interacted with the temporary ranges that we set up that are from the shooting sports trailer would be Scoutorama. And Scoutorama that we just had back on May 10th. And so we set up temporary archery ranges and temporary BB ranges all the time. The temporary BB ranges that we have are powered by their air blowers, and they blow up to be very large structures that were custom made by Daisy. Daisy's the company that makes a lot of BB guns to specifically be used as temporary BB range structures for the scouts. So they designed them for us specifically so that scout councils could purchase them and use them. What are the logistics for extended hours care? Drop off is indeed 7:30, and you want to make sure to sign off in the binder. Pickup is by 5, so we don't have extended care to 5:30. Unfortunately, that's not something that we've organized. If that's something that you desperately need, Ted, go ahead and give me a call tomorrow on my cell phone. You should all have my cell phone number now. It's in the parent guide as well. And just connect with me personally so that I can see about potentially arranging that. The big concern that I would have there is I don't believe we would have at this point any other requests to be there that late, which means your youth would be alone with the supervision. I mean, we would of course have all of the double deep adult leader supervision that we need to make that safe. But most of the time, if a youth is alone for about a half an hour as a youth member without peers, that can be a not so fun experience, especially from a summer camp standpoint. But we would try to figure out what we can do. I can also look into see if I have staff who have youth that they are bringing with them, and if those staff members may be the folks who might be able to stick around for extended care. We could potentially work that out. So we aren't doing biking this year at Vasona or at History Park. So you don't have to worry about that. We're not doing the biking activity. We do have bikes for the Labor Day family camp up at Camp High Sierra. but the trails up there are very large, but they're also mountain trails. So I don't think that you're probably going to want to engage specifically in biking yet from the things that we do. And yeah, I will email out the slides to everybody. So you will have the slides, but hopefully you've gotten the parent guide. If anyone hasn't gotten the parent guide, but you got this email somehow, please let me know so that I can get the parent guide out to you because it has a lot of good information as well. This has been the Dylan Rambling Show, which it normally is. If there are there any other questions that folks want to chime in with, either in the chat or once again you can unmute and you can talk. We can see your lovely faces. Camp is going fantastic. We're really having a great time. The staff is doing a wonderful job at Stevens Creek so far, and we're working out all of the kinks and everything like that for Vasona and for History Park. The History Park presentation, I'll give a small pitch that if you're signed up for Vasona but you haven't looked at History Park yet, Vasona has fishing, Stevens Creek has a lot of shooting, and History Park has special adventures. So we are going to have a tour of the San Jose Fire Department training facility that is across the street from History Park that the superintendent for the San Jose Fire Department has set up for us. I always think it's great to see Cub Scouts in fire department uniforms and fire gear that is much too big for them. We're going to go to the San Jose Giants Stadium for a special tour. We're going to be going to Happy Hollow for one of the days. And on one of the days, we have a trolley ride with the conductor giving us a presentation over at the trolley barn at History Park. And we also get to visit the museum that is at History Park. And one of the days, I believe, there's another one of the buildings that is at History Park that is specifically going to be open for us. And and then one of the days we're going to be doing the glass fusion project at the Bay Area Glass Institute. So every day has something special that is happening at History Park, and we just don't have fishing, which I look forward to because none of the other camps have fishing, and each camp is differentiated from each other camp in a fun way. And of course, we've got less of the constructed activities, less crafts, and less things like that at History Park because we've got the special location activities. And it's just, I had a scout today kind of come up to me and ask, hey, I had to leave camp early because of the nature hike. Will you do a nature hike with me at lunch today? And I said, absolutely. I would be happy to do the nature hike with you at lunch today, but you will also miss the water games at lunch. And he sat there, he's like, well, I can't do both. And I'm like, you can't be in two places at one time, buddy. You're going to have to pick. And sometimes the Cub Camp is a great place for them to learn that they're not maybe going to get to do every single activity, but everything hopefully that they're going to get a chance to do is going to be a lot of fun, and they're really going to have a great time. And that's what we focus on at Cub Camp: safety first, and then also making sure that they all have a good time. And we're a little bit flexible. So if we say the activity is ultimate frisbee and no one in the den wants to play ultimate frisbee, we're not going to make them play ultimate frisbee. We'll switch to an activity like soccer. We'll switch to an activity like disc golf. We have the materials available and we have a trained staff so that we can pivot to an activity that hopefully the youth in the den will like. And that we'll be able to also make constructive and meet advancement along the way as well. Yes, please pack 2 substantial snacks. That is a very, very good note. And what I will also say is that I will always have extra snacks. So I've got a giant Smart and Final size thing of Cheez-Its. I've got a giant Smart and Final thing of Chex Mix. I've got some of the Bobo's snacks from Costco. I've got some of the trail mix from Costco. I tried to go healthy, but also things that the kids will probably eat. So if any of your kids don't have a snack, if they don't have a lunch, you do not have to worry. I will make sure that they have some sort of pre-packaged food that is not prepared on site for them. And so that is one of the things. And I do also have some of the pre-packaged food of the natural variety, i.e. fruit. So I've got some mandarin oranges. We'll also probably have some other things as we go along. Other questions? That was a great one, or a great point to bring up, because I did go very quickly through the snacks. I believe. Oh, okay. Sorry. If you, I have never figured out how to get Zoom chat to save for anything for me. So please send me an email if you have a specific note from this meeting and there needs to be follow-up from that. So my email address, and I will type this in the main chat right now. Obviously, repeating kind of one of the same problems that I have. But my email is my name, so Dylan, Dylan, period Hendrickson, and then Hendrickson, and then at scouting.org. So there's my email. Please make sure to ping me with an email if you have any questions. I haven't gotten to my email today yet, and I've got 53 new emails to get to, but hopefully I get a chance to make sure I check on anything that's coming from Cub Camp, and I get back to that as quick as I can. I'll at least get caught up each weekend, which means I should be able to get to everybody's requests before Monday. Okay. Volunteering along with your scout. What time do you need to be in there with check-in? So it depends on what time you can get there. I'd love to have you there at 7:30, which is when we have our kind of starting staff meeting, and then we do setup of camp. But what I really need the den leaders to be there is by 8:25. 8:30 is when we start to do sign in for each of the dens. And I believe you're definitely going to be a den leader, Tasneem. And so that's when I need you there by 8:25, because I'm sure bringing your own kids and organizing everything is a little bit difficult. And I'd like to give you back some time. I've got plenty of people to help setting up with camp. But once again, if you can't help us set up, all the better. But great question. Especially that first morning, I expect people to be late. And that is planned. The first day of camp always starts a half an hour to 45 minutes later than we expect. We keep the kids entertained while we handle all the paperwork and we handle everyone showing up late. We know people are going to have a hard time finding the park. We plan activities that can be more flexible on the first day, and so that everyone's still going to get a chance to do everything that's fun by the end of the day. And no one's going to miss out on any of the activities. We've also, like I said, got plenty of flex time built into the schedule for the rotations. Okay, other questions? If you feel like you've gotten all the questions that you have answered, you do not need to stick around. Of course, this is not a required PTA meeting or something like that. This is a resource for me to make sure that everyone is helped out as much as possible. So I'm going to stick here until we answer everything, but of course, you don't need to stick around. Other questions? Yeah, no problem. Of course. Of course. I'm going to stop recording in case anyone's really shy, and that's the reason that they don't want to ask a question, which is completely possible.